So, some things that I've learned about reality as an adult, and as someone who has experienced a lot, a really lot in life. I probably can't, you wouldn't believe me if I even went into the context of what I've been through. And that's what I'm going to get into. That's the part that I want to get into. Um, One of the things that I've learned as an adult is that the word lie is not exactly truthful, or it's not, there's no such thing as a black and white world. There's no gray world either. So, say that someone makes up a story and it's their perspective of reality and they think it's the truth, and it might be the truth to them because that's just how they perceive life. The psychological sphere what they live in might be in an area where everybody tells them that what they do, or whoever they are, or whoever they say they are, is the truth. Then they believe that everything that they say is the truth. Does that make their truth real or truthful? No, not necessarily, to the objective standpoint that we're looking at the story. But how you view how to react to people like that in life is completely different if you have a perspective of dealing with people like that. So, before I get into a rant about perspectives of reality and whatever like that, narcissistic individuals and perspectives of reality and what a lie is. Now, I'm not saying that you should go out and lie, because we know from the basic truth that we're taught as children is not to know not to lie. But you can lie to yourself to fix a lie, which sounds crazy. It seems like that would be a harmful thing to do, but in all actuality, that's one of the things that might help you fix the problem. It just depends on what your coping mechanism is. So if a narcissist or someone who is from the extreme upper class and has dealt with people just telling them all their life that they are right and that that's just who they are as a person, if either of those two types of people come into your reality and you get stolen from, or you get treated unfairly in a circumstance, don't sit back and expect this person to, or that type of person to have any moral ground, or to change reality for how they expect reality to go versus how you expect reality to go, because the more likelihood is that you're not going to win the circumstance just because they have the upper advantage with the idea, not just the money, but the idea of what truth is. If you have 10 million followers on Instagram, the social truth is that most people believe you. If you've built your platform, if you've built your career, then people are like, oh, I know this person. Like the Hunger Games, you're going to be like, oh, I know this person. I relate to this person. Unlike the Hunger Games, though, the relatability sticks because people are like, I recognize this brand and I relate this brand to a social moral or ethic or whatever this person is related to. This person may be nothing at all like what their brand image is, but you may see it like that because you are one of the 10,000 million people who follow them on Instagram or Twitter. Um, what I was getting to before I went on a rant is that the social truth, which is how our democracy in the United States runs, is that if you have 467 followers, those 467 followers will say their own opinions of a person, but not really really know the person, but say that they are supportive of the person because this person has shown in their perspective their truth or who they are or whatever. And in my life, which I promised I would never get into this, and I'm really not going to, is I had a past where I had to deal with a bunch of narcissistic people who felt like they were super entitled to take and steal things. And I didn't win any of the debates because I didn't really have very many people supporting me or many followers, because it's just not a believable concept. Even though the truth was something, not many people care about what the truth is because the truth is a lie socially. But I wanted to get into what I learned as an adult is that you have to work hard, very hard, just to get people to believe you. And you can't cry over something like people not supporting you on something or not getting your way on things, because really it's like you've got 10 million other things that you could be doing. At the moment, I have 466 followers, and I think that's super amazing. I'm hoping that I get to a point where I'm like at 1,000 followers. That would be super cool. And maybe I'll do like a review later on when I have like 1,000 followers and like people have been like, oh, you have 1,000 followers now, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Because I'm doing this right now to just like, I've already started my life over, and I went to like, I hit the top. I'm not kidding, the top of the top with how awesome I was at what I did. And I'm not going to get into very much of it. It was artsy. It was awesome. But I received no credit for what I did. And I probably likely will never receive any credit for what I did because I didn't have social accreditation. I didn't have social followers. But right now, as a person, I'm working on getting followers just because I don't really have a plan for what I want to do with my life. That sounds terrible, but I've already graduated from college. I've done all the check marks. Guys, how sad is that? I've got all the check marks done, and I'm like, I can hold a job. That's no problem. I got a job recently. I'm not really content, and I don't feel as though I'm supposed to feel appreciated at the job, because I feel like I expect the job to be as the job is. So I'm not like really super satisfied to the point where I would stay at my job. So moving to California is not going to be that big of a deal for me, other than the blood clots, because the blood clots I have to think of a way to get the medicine for that. But as I was saying with the followers. I am just building up enough followers, maybe to make an Instagram thing going, or sorry, YouTube thing going. I don't really expect very much out of it, but I'm pretty happy about what I'm doing, which I'm like content happy. Like I'm actually doing a hobby, something that I'm enjoying, and it's not something that's like costing me anything to do. So I'm pretty excited about that. But I hope that for all the people out there that have gone through the whole stalking situation that I went through, because I did the big leagues. I was in the big leagues of like being awesome, and I got stalked because people thought that I had connections when I didn't have connections. I don't have connections. I don't have connections to like get a job. I get a job now from like background experience, but I don't even have background experience attached to like anything other than like the basic job profile. Like what I did, which was awesome, had nothing to do with my job. So I never got accreditation for that, and I'm probably never going to. So I'm stuck being a basic biatch, you know. But I'm sorry if anybody like is going through stalking, and that's the reason why they found my profile, and like they have to deal with police officers that are so terrible to them, because sometimes it's not pleasant to deal with people when you're going through a crisis or you're going through an issue, and it's just not something that they don't believe, because socially you don't have a very big following, which is horrible to say, because I was not the most popular person growing up of my family. That was my big sister, and she always was extreme extrovert, and everybody just like charismatically attached to her, and it was just the coolest thing on the face of the planet. But I am so sorry if the reason why you found my profile was just from the stalking stuff, and that like you're still having to deal with that, because I've seen those comments, and I'm deeply upset that I can't do anything about it. I've seen comments where they're like, if I wish they would just please stop. And I'm like, yeah, I've been through that, and I'm sorry that you're going through that, and I'll try to do my best to support you all in your crisis that you're going through, because narcissistic individuals are just not fun to deal with, and stalking is not fun to deal with. But I'm rebuilding my life, and I hope that you all can do the same if that's what your goal is. I don't really have a goal for my life, like, right now. If my future husband were to go back to China, I would probably go back to China with him, just because I don't know what to say. I'm 32. And I want a family, and that's not the only reason why I would be doing that, but it's like the jobs that I can get with my background of having a bachelor's degree pretty easily. So it's like I'm traveling, and I can get the job here in Kentucky, or I could get it in California, or not in China, but like, you know, it's a simple life. But I hope that if anybody has to deal with the the struggle of dealing with lies, or I don't know, like just dishonesty, a huge amount of dishonesty, that it's not as hard as it was for me, because I went through massive amount of hell. But I'm going to not go through every single aspect of that, and I'm just going to cut it short at like 15 to 20 minutes of me ranting, because that's long enough for content. I don't assume myself to be like the most entertaining person on the face of the planet, but I hope that you've enjoyed the conversation that I'm having, and because I'm directing it to you, and I'm directing it to any audience who's actually listening. So I hope that this has been informative. I hope that you understand what I learned personally, what I learned about lies and about people, and how I learned to connect my reality to other people's reality, even if they didn't ever believe me with the stalking, or they didn't ever believe that I was telling the truth, or they did believe me and they did catch the people, and then they just continued to feed the social lie of mental illness or narcissism that people were just more willing to accept because people already fed into that follower count of belief. So, like, if so many people say that you are crazy and it's already popular for them to be crazy, then the person's crazy. That's what I'm basically saying. I'm not ranting about me being crazy. I'm ranting about lies, and I hope that nobody's going through something like that. And if you are, I'm sorry that you're going through that. The best thing you can do is not try to convince people that you're not crazy, but to just go with the truth and the reality until you get out of the circumstance, and then ditch on out of there. Try to find a different place to live. That's not why I'm leaving. I could get off my medicine at any time. That sounds so terrible, but I've been just complacently taking medicine just because it's a thing to do. That's the literal truth of what I've been doing. Besides the blood thinners, everything else has just been like, sure, I'll do the thing. Sure, I'll do the thing. I'll get in a rant later about what I feel about being dragged to the hospital in Canada and the social lie that I had to deal with. But it's already past 18 minutes, and I figured nobody's going to watch an 18-minute video. So I'm going to let you all go for now, and I hope that your nights improve if you had to go through the stalking, or if you're going through a crisis. I hope that you have a very amazing day, and I will talk later about my truths and everything else at another time. All right, see you guys later. Peace out, YouTubers.